President Marcos laid out key economic measures in his State of the Nation address that could shape the future of businesses, exports, and employment. To discuss the business sector's perspective, Sergio Ortiz Luis Jr. joins us via Zoom. He is the president of the Philippine Exports Confederation and Employers Confederation of the Philippines. Thank you for joining us today, sir. And of course, you are also Chairman Emeritus of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Yusek Margo.
Good
Nice to
morning.
be here again.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. Of course, everybody is talking about the State of the Nation address delivered last Monday. President Marcos highlighted export growth, foreign investments, and ease of doing business as key economic priorities. From the perspective of exporters and employers, what parts of his agenda could have the biggest impact on business growth?
Well, of course, the incentives and what we were expecting, yung EPIRA is one that is very popular, and then one common agenda of the labor and the business sector that we signed together, the raising of the exemption of the 350,000 income of the workers, that is very popular. Although there are a lot of things that were given, which will lose income for the government, and a lot of assistance that will be given. Our worry is can our fiscal situation carry these commitments?
By losing income for the government, sir, do you mean the tax reforms that were suggested by the president?
Well, yeah, among others, some of the tax reports I think are given. We wanted that, but there's a lot that came in, and even the suspension of the excise tax and things like, which we know that there's big debate. It was not implemented, and all of a sudden they are now going to be implemented all at the same time. So we're a little bit worried, considering, as I heard you earlier say in the news, that we owe already 19 trillion, and we're paying something like 1 trillion a year in, I hope that we are not going to borrow much more to
Yung,
support these commitments.
yung isa pong pinalakpakan during the SONA was the item that the president mentioned on system loss. Could you comment on that po? And yung sa EPIRA law?
The EPIRA law, well, that was long coming. I think for several years it's going back and forth that at the very least we do not want these systems loss to be charged to consumer, and that is a long awaited, but that's not going to cost the government anything, so that's not a worry for us.
The president also cited continued growth in Philippine exports. And in fact, he also highlighted the 23 free trade agreements. What do you think will be the impact of this? And if ever, what challenges must the government address to sustain and expand export growth?
Well, we have a big problem in our economy, and one of the bright spots now is the export. That in spite of the high inflation, the low investment, the low tourism, we very pleasant surprise is that export has been growing since last year, despite Trump's reciprocal tariff. No, we are now a bit worried about the 12.5% that he is going to implement. We don't know how he will implement it, but I hope it's not. It's something that we can remedy also.
I understand from the proclamation on the 12.5% tariff that this is because of suspicions of unfair labor practices. But we had Trade Secretary Cristina Roque here just a couple of days ago, and she clarified that, as a matter of fact, we don't do that. So from your standpoint, sir, should that tariff be imposed by the United States, or should it be lower, or maybe even zero?
Well, you know that the reciprocal tariff of President Trump was reversed by their Supreme Court, no? So he just found a way a pretext to be able to come back with vengeance and use tariff again as a tool. Uh, and it's very weird that we are being included in the list of those with forced labor. Although what he said, what they're saying is that it is not that we are using forced labor here, but we are buying from countries products that are produced of forced labor, and basically, I think they're referring to China. So it's a way to contain China also. So, and I don't know, the weird part about it also is that when it's being announced, we are also announcing the Pax Silica with at the same time. So being offering displays for Pax Silica to US, and at the same time US hitting us with a forced tariff on forced labor.
Ginagamit po nila sa tingin niyo po for negotiations? Para i-implement po natin itong Pax Silica, mapirmahan na po this coming November, you think? Di naman po siguro.
Pax Silica, I think, is still has a long way, no? In theory, it's good, but I don't know if it's gonna happen that easy. I think we're also saying that the what they want is that the laws of the U.S. will prevail on that area. We are insisting no. But if it becomes a deal breaker later on, and they say, well, there's so much advantage, they will have to agree. We don't want to do that, no, because it might be converted into a military facility that we have nothing to do with, and all of a sudden we're hosting a military base.
For that we might be producing parts for military equipment. However, I think the BCDA has also always been saying that this is a great opportunity for investment, citing that it could generate 40 to 70 billion US dollars in investments for us. However, there were opposition to this, citing environmental concerns. What is the stand po of ECOP on this?
Well, we of course all the jobs that will be generated. I don't know. We have to see the list, you know, because I know that data centers require less people than normal, no. So I don't know how many jobs will really be created because I visited place data centers in China, for instance, where they have hundreds of people, they have only about 5 people. No? So I don't know where the jobs will be generated. Is it to produce the water or to or the power to produce it? Will it be nuclear? I don't know. We have to see the
Study.
plans. You know,
Yes
it's
po.
easier to say that we will have the water, we'll have the electricity, but we don't really, and we will have this much job, but we don't see numbers. We don't. We just being told different numbers by different people, but we don't see the computation or the list of what are really the jobs that they will be created. We also know that it's supposed to be joined in by big companies, but so far we are only hearing one that is really committed. The others, I think, are just watching and seeing, and we're afraid that at the end of the day, they might see it really as something that will be operated like a base, like what we had before, and that might be a deal breaker if we say that it will have to be under Philippine laws.
So for you po, yes or no to Pax Silica?
If there is enough data that will be given that we can analyze and see, then it's worth looking at. But at the moment, there's so many ifs.
Okay, and we just concluded the State of the Nation address. Once again, sa inyo po, sir, what is the state of the economy today?
It's really bad. No? I mean, the inflation is high. our this is servicing is very high, and tourism is down, although it's increasing, but no, not in the same degree as our neighbors. Our investment also is we're last choice now at the moment, number six, I think, when we were number one, number two. But as again, the bright spot now is export, and I hope we look at it more carefully and invest on it, not look at it as an expense.
And as our last question, sir, the administration has been promoting digitalization and ease of doing business reforms. For you, sir, what are the other things that we can do to entice foreign investors to come back to this country and to invest in the Philippines and to uplift our economy?
Well, ease of doing business through ARTA has done a lot, no? Still has a lot to go, but I think people recognize, even investors recognize that we're doing a lot of things to make ease of doing business. But the big problem really is the on lack of confidence, is the scandals that was created, and the perception is that rather than being solved, that it is even increasing, and there's too many doors being opened. We hope that we can concentrate on the source of the scandal, which was really the budget of 2025, which was really misused, no worst budget, I understand. We are not solving that. We are spending too much time in politics. So I hope that we can concentrate. The president says so, and I hope he can be helped by the legislature so that we can be, last year there were 52 bills that were passed on by LEDAC. I think only two became law, although there's claim that many of them are in the process of being, I hope they can concentrate, no?
It's hard to
On-
concentrate because there's the impeachment trial going on. So there are a lot of items on the LEDAC that are being neglected. Speaking of that, sir, what do you think should be the top priorities in terms of laws for our economy?
Well, there is a lot of law in the communication area, in the transport area, and even there's a list of laws that LIDAC had passed on, and I think many of them were endorsed by the about 20 of them, I think more than 20, passed on by the lower house, but it's not acted on by the Senate. Unfortunately, the Senate is the one that is busy now with the impeachment, so I don't know how they can do that. In the president's only 2 years, and I don't know how many laws can be passed on in the time.
And we only have 2 years left. As you mentioned, sir, what is the one thing that our government should focus on to be able to help us get out of just the 3.5 to 4.5% GDP, but actually get back on track to high growth rate?
I think investment is the name of the game, to attract real investment and to gain confidence of the investing community for us, so that investment will flow in again.
Thank you very much for sharing your insights, Mr. Sergio Ortiz Luis Jr. of PhilExport and ECOP and Chairman Emeritus of the PCCI. More stories
Thank
when
you
we
very
return.
much.
Thank you, sir.